yes, everybody, Russ and the West Ham Network, hope you are all safe and well. I generally hope you are. It's Hammers Headlines in association with the KUMB.com boys. Several stories today as we look ahead to the game against Olympiacos on Thursday. Keep an eye on the channel. We put out a opposition of chats with Demetrius from Gate 7 International. Really interesting chat, actually, and he was really surprised with how poor we were. As much as we were poor, as much as we were surprised of how poor we were anyway. But it's Hammers Headlines Association with the KUMB.com boys. Check them out. Great form, great chat as per usual. So let's talk about one of the big things, definitely, is Mikel Antonio. We're going to touch on him in a bit, but it was worth noting that yesterday, Mr. Divine Mubama, as well as Callum Marshall, both gave Moyes quite a timely reminder of their capabilities, with both hitting the score sheet for another win for the under-21s, who arrived at Cheltenham Town yesterday as their impressive start to the season continues. The under-21s made it 3 wins from 3 in the Bristol City Motors Trophy, as a 4-0 victory played out on Tuesday evening. Ollie Scholes scored before Divine struck just a minute later after Ollie, and they extended it to a 2-0 lead, with a third in just 10 first half minutes, as George Earthy's deflective shot put the game beyond the well-beaten hosts. Chances came for more goals in the second half. Callum Marshall and Barman Dan Chester's both went close to adding a fourth, and the actual goal arrived. Callum Marshall scored his 18th goal of the season, when he finished a move 10 minutes from the end of time. We've scored 9 goals in the last 3 games, the under-21s have, and moved our unbeaten run to 12 games, as well as topping Group H in the Bristol Street Motors Trophy with 3 wins from 3. So obviously, we're going to talk about Antonio in a minute, but just gives a little bit of a tip of the cap in terms of what we could provide in terms of the firepower within the under-21s. Now, one notable player in that game in the squad was Ben Johnson, who is arguably, but has been frozen out, it seems, of the first team and dropped to, in essence, the reserves. He's found game time hard to come by this season, that's for sure, with David Moyes' options for Vladimir Soufal, tends to be Tino Kira. It was reported that West Ham were open to the sale of the 23-year-old over the summer. Originally showed promise as a very versatile defender, playing a lot of games at right back, but also in the back of back 3, as well as playing on left back as well. I genuinely thought that was going to be his position going forward, in terms of cover for Aaron Cresswell at the time. But since Emerson, let me just move myself up there, we go. Since then, Emerson has very much taken the mantle, and Cresswell is very much a bench player, and we moved on in the summer by, I imagine, not being offered a new contract, if not even earlier, and being sold in January potentially. It's clear that Ben Johnson's another one who'll be showing the door in the summer, if not beforehand as well. They made it to cash him in January. His contract runs out in the summer. Makes a little sense keeping him on to the summer, same as people like Aaron Cresswell. There's a number of players who enter in their last year, who are in their last year of their contract. Maybe a well-structured deal, including, buyback or sell-on clause, ensuring, if he does develop into the top talent, the club can benefit from its success. Man City do it all the time. They do it all the time. But clearly his exit, considering his selection in the stiffs, in essence the reserves, the under-21s, would pay justice to that idea. Another player who mentioned quickly there is actually, no, let's do this one. That's it, that one. Mikel Antonio. Now, based on, I don't know if you listened to Dave Moyes' comments following prior to the Brentford game, but also slightly after as well, He's all but rubber stamped Antonio's demotion from the first team starting lineup. Obviously, he's been a fantastic servant since joining from Nottingham Forest, 7.5 million quid back in 2015, so almost 8 years at the club. But he's been particularly unaffected this season and is without a goal since August. So when Moyes dropped him for the Arsenal game, or rotated him for the Arsenal game in the Carabao Cup and played Jarrod Bowen up front, supported with Kudus and Benrahma, there was little surprise and great intrigue to see how it works. Obviously, we pressed the life out of Arsenal from the front, and we looked really dynamic, really dangerous, really fluid in that forward attack as well. And the general consensus was that Moyes had found an answer, to life beyond Antonio. It was a plan B. It was Moyes ball B, Moyes ball 2.0 in terms of, making it clear that Antonio, is finished really, I think, at West Ham, but now must sort of have the courage now, Moyes, in terms of those convictions. Speaking after the Brentford game, this is what he said. So I'd loathe to say Bowen's suddenly a number 9 because we need him to play a 7. We might need him to play a 7 and to do the job that he's doing there. But in time, I see it changing for Jarrod. I really do. Hopefully people would have seen my thoughts over a few months. I actually think Freiburg was probably the night. He was terrific that night, and I think that made me feel it. We had a little blip after the international break, but the game against Arsenal and the other night got us back on track. And another performance, more importantly, from the likes of Mo and Jarrod and Paqueta, got us thinking there are other solutions to what we've got here. Interesting what he says. Obviously, we were somewhat surprised with Antonio's inclusion for the Brentford game being reinstated, and it backfired ridiculously. Obviously, with the miss from a yard out. So it's, for me, Moyes needs to make good on those statements now. I think it's clear that the way to go, obviously, is the way he was set up for the Arsenal game, and it's going to be interesting to see with the Olympiacos game coming in, and then subsequently Nottingham Forest game, whether he adapts this more dynamic front three. Arguably dropping out Benrahma for Paqueta, and a 3 of Kudus and Bowen and Paqueta is a very, very exciting 3 for any West Ham fan. And finally, some non-team news, but good news for long-suffering West Ham fans, particularly long-suffering home West Ham fans. You may be aware that of the MSG Sphere in Las Vegas, little sort of thing there. It's a phenomenal building. You two played there the opening night. It's incredible in terms of the immersive experience, and obviously you've got the outside of this with all they put little things on. They put a pumpkin on for Halloween and that type of stuff. But there could be a big payoff if plans for the MSG Sphere in Stratford, £800 million, go ahead. Last month, it was reported by several outsourcers that a new arena right on West Ham's doorstep was pending a decision from the government in terms of the go-ahead. The proposals to build a 300-foot Las Vegas-style sphere close to the home ground sparks a lot of excitement and anger within Stratford itself. Local residents, businesses expressed concerns over the plans. West Ham fans obviously would have seen it, and those who haven't seen it, obviously, it's phenomenal. It is phenomenal. But as I said, MSG, the company behind it, Madison Square Gardens Entertainment Company, they want to replicate it in Stratford near West Ham Stadium, with a 21,500 capacity stadium, just as I said, stone's throw away from London Stadium for the next 25 years at least. The proposals are currently the proposals yet to be approved by the mayor, and obviously you've got Stratford, you've got Westfield, you've got West Ham, you've got the ABBA Stadium as well. So another sort of venue will put a lot of pressure on that area. But there is a big payoff if these plans go ahead, because MSG plans are to heavily invest in improving the traffic and travel infrastructure in and around Stratford, which would benefit the likes of West Ham fans and regular supporters to the area. Obviously, one of the biggest beefs in terms of the move to Stratford is the travel in and around the stadium on match days. Obviously, Stratford is the 5th biggest UK station in the UK, of course, and obviously you've got passengers from the supporters going to the game, as well as Westfield shoppers, as well as people going to see ABBA and all that type of stuff. And then there might be something at the Copper Box as well. But MSG plans to improve the experience by building a brand new entrance and ticketing hall for Stratford, scheduling events to run at different times to peak hours and coordinating with the likes of West Ham over travel needs. They also plan to invest in the road and highway network near the stadium, which would improve matchday travel for fans. Many people, could be stuck in Westfield car park for a good hour, or at least getting out round the A12 bit is a nightmare as well. So it's pledged to change what it describes as an inaccessible site into a central destination. It says the highway improvements will be substantial, which, to be honest, music to my ears when I drive in, to be honest, because how difficult it can be to get away from games, even when I'm going at a later date. Some of the key improvements include new pedestrian bridges, 2 from Mount Fitchett Road and 1 from the town centre link. That will also improve connectivity between Stratford Town Centre and the Queen Elizabeth Park. An improved pedestrian-friendly junction at Angel Lane. Enhancements to the Mount Fitchett Road, including reducing the number of traffic lanes, widening the footways and creating a designated cycleway. And MSG Entertainment is not using any public money for the MSG Sphere project, including the bridge construction and road improvements. So it could be really good news for West Ham fans in terms of the MSG Sphere if it goes ahead. But, if buts and maybes. Anyway, that's it. So I hope you have a great rest of the day. As I said, don't forget to check out news@motherbrand.com for all your lovely, lovely West Ham news. We'll be back tomorrow with the predicted 11s, the live Stratford show, pre-match outside London Stadium, and then all the watch along and stuff with the Olympiacos game. A critical game for West Ham, critical going in terms of ensuring qualification or help going a long way to ensuring qualification to the next stages, knockout stages of the Europa League. Particularly, you've got to win that group. There's going to be some big sides at the moment dropping in from the Champions League. And that's it. So take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, keep the faith, my friends, and I'll see you very, very soon. It's time for now. Bye-bye.